Okay. Single phase FCB. So we already discussed that what is an FCB. So FCB, all four switches of the bridge converter are SCR. So this circuit does not have any diodes. Second important thing, it is the two quadrant converter. And it can operate in first and fourth quadrant. Okay. So that means here so it can operate in this quadrant and in this quadrant, and okay. Okay, so we can say same circuit can operate. Okay. As usual, first we draw all four devices as diodes, and then we decide which diode has to be kept as a diode and which diode has to be converted into an SCR. You can always draw the bridge first, and because it's a full converter, all four have to be thyristors. So T1, T2, T3, T4. Rest all remains the same. Live, neutral. Node X, node Y. IL okay. So this load can either be resistor or it can be RLEB. Okay, so operation with R load, same as single phase HCB with R load. Second thing, that VL comma IL waveforms are purely sinusoidal, and as we know that in any bridge configuration, diagonally opposite devices, they conduct by default. So one thing we have to mention here is the firing angles. T1 and T2, they will be fired at alpha, and T3 and T4 will be fired at alpha. Okay, fine. So we can say that T1, T2, they will conduct from alpha to pi. T3, T4 conduct from pi plus alpha to 2 pi. In other words, load voltage equal to 0 for intervals 0 to alpha and pi to pi plus alpha. And last but not the least, the value of VL AVG is same as in half control bridge, Vm upon pi into 1 plus cos alpha. And we also can derive that the RMS content of the waveform is given as Vm by root 2 into the big bracket 1 upon pi into pi minus alpha plus 1 upon 2 sine 2 alpha whole under root. To mention that this is in radians and this is to be taken in degrees, and you know that radians means it is the value in degrees into pi by 180. Okay, so The waveforms for this circuit are very simple. Source voltage, load voltage, load current. 0, pi, 2 pi, 3 pi. Marker for alpha, pi plus alpha, 2 pi plus alpha. Same here. Scaled down version, same nature as VL, but every value is divided by R, that is RL. Okay, darken it now. Current is same nature, scale down. So this is VM. So this will be also VM, but this peak will be VM by R. Okay, so we can comment from this that in this operation, the load current IL is discontinuous sinusoidal. Okay, why? Because the load voltage, it follows the mathematics Vm sin omega t, and the load current, it follows the mathematics VL upon RL, R, instantaneous value. Okay, so discontinuous sinusoidal. Now we go to operation with RL load. RL means small inductive load. So students, though we will tell that there is only a small difference between the operation of FCB with small inductive load and HCB with small inductive, in the sense that there is internal freewheeling action in a semi-converter or half control bridge, but there is no such inbuilt or inherent freewheeling here. That means what did not happen in HCB is going to happen in FCB. Now what happens when the load is inductive? That means the circuit now transforms from being fully controlled from half controlled. Okay, so we can make a point here in a semi converter. I'll just add a point here that since the VL waveform does not extend into the illegal half cycle, which means little beyond pi radians or little beyond 0 or 2 pi radians, single phase half control bridge is a full wave half controlled circuit. Okay, this is very important. It can be asked in Viva also. Okay, so since the VL waveform does not extend into illegal half cycle, single phase half controlled bridge is a full wave half controlled circuit. So here what are the important points? First, inductor L imposes the voltage L di by dt at the beginning of both negative half cycle and positive half cycle. Okay, this potential keeps the thyristor pairs T1, T2 and T3, T4 forward biased in the negative half cycle, which is illegal half cycle for T1, T2 and in positive half cycle, which is the illegal half cycle for T3, T4 for some small time duration. Okay, so what is the result of this thing? So the result is the VL waveform has a negative vestige. I hope that we have heard this word vestige in analog communication, which is called as vestigial sideband modulation. So what is vestigial sideband modulation? That means in amplitude modulation we have the unmodulated carrier, and we have the upper sideband which goes from FC to FC plus FM, and we have lower sideband which goes down from FC to FC minus FM. So bandwidth of AM is 2 FM. So if I transmit both the sidebands, it is called as double sideband modulation. If I transmit only one of the two sidebands, it is called as single sideband modulation. And if I transmit one sideband completely and little portion of the another sideband, that is called as vestigial sideband modulation. So whenever there is a small portion which is coming, that is called as vestige. So the VL waveform has a small vestige in both PHC and NHC as shown. What is the result? The result is that there is a lowering in the value of VLAVG, or we can say the average content of the waveform, or the average content of the waveform. So what we will do is that we will draw the same waveform but for RL loads. We'll make some modifications here. See, the modifications come only in these portions. So this waveform, which is supposed to end at pi. Okay, so this is pi. This is 2 pi. This is 3 pi. And this is alpha. Okay. So we get a small portion here, alpha. Okay. Okay, yeah. So student, this has got added. Oh, sorry. This negative portion has got added, which was not there before. Okay. Similarly, here also there is a change in the load current. Yeah. So now there is a change here. The load current is no longer purely sinusoidal. It is going to observe the RL charging and discharging nature. So I feel that we have to completely erase this waveform. And we can no longer follow this sinusoidal nature at all. So I will have to erase this thing. The current is no longer sinusoidal. Okay. So now in case of inductive loads, depending upon the value of the load inductance, if it is moderate, it is very small, moderately small. So according to that, we will have the load current either discontinuous or continuous, but it is for sure it is not sinusoidal, right? So as I told that here operation RL loads, IL is discontinuous sinusoidal. To make it a point here, the load current is non-sinusoidal. IL follows the equation I of omega t is equal to VL of omega t upon R into 1 minus e raised to minus t into R over L. Okay, so this is not sinusoidal, this is some kind of an exponential nature. Okay, so we can have many versions here. So how to draw this? Now you know for sure that during this interval the load is connected to source, right? So during these intervals the current will show a rise and then it will show a fall. So if the current is of a discontinuous nature, then what will happen is, please understand one thing students, that these points, okay, so I will have to use a different color now. Yeah, so 1, 2 and 3. These points indicate the instant at which the inductor energy becomes zero. These are the instants at which L is discharged fully. Okay. Yeah. So it is how we have to draw. So this is I max. See now carefully. Current will fall at this instant. Okay, at this it will fall like this. It will fall like this, remain at zero until this point. Okay, so I will tell you which are the points of charging. So charging points again, charging, charging, charging. So see what happens is this. So the current will now go like this and reach here, fall here. Again, at this instant, the load gets connected to the source to again charging. And again, the instant at which L is discharged, it will fall here again. It will remain zero. And again, it will start charging and go here. So it will fall here. Okay. So this is an example of discontinuous current. Okay. Now on this only we will superimpose the continuous current mode. See now how it will be. I'll draw it with a different color. Okay. So now we have to add here a point called as I min. Okay. Okay, so I will make a legend here. Okay, so for very small L, moderately high L's. Now we come to the most important operation with highly inductive loads, which will actually help us justify that the full control bridge or a full converter can operate in the fourth quadrant. So fourth quadrant means VLAVG is negative and current is positive. Okay. So we can also make a note here. Okay. So this particular thing back EMF of motor. Operation of single phase fully controlled bridge with RLEB load is unique and different from above two cases, that is R and RL loads, and also single phase half control bridge. So you can copy paste the circuit now. Yeah. Yeah. So here again T1, T2, T3, T4. Second thing is that the load side inductance is so large that the load current IL does not change at all. Okay, so the load side inductance is so large that the load current does not change at all. So what is happening here, students, that here we are having Imax and Imin. And we see that there is a significant difference between the levels of Imax and Imin. But here, this is the case when load is small. And we also see here that as and when the value of inductance goes on increasing, then the amount by which the load current is reducing, this actually goes on reducing. So the delta, it goes on reducing. For highly inductive loads, it is equal to constant, does not change at all, and is constant and denoted as either IA or I0. So as I told you before also, I indicates armature current because basically RLEB is nothing but it's a motor load. So we can also replace this thing like this. Many a times we can actually draw it like this. Okay, so these are the terminals A1, A2. This is our current IA. Okay. So Imax is equal to IA equal to Imin. There is no ripple here now. That is why we say that IL is continuous and it is ripple free. It is continuous ripple free current. Okay, so now current is equal to plus IA. So automatically the fourth quadrant operation. So when the current is positive, That means there is a possibility that it is either a first quadrant operation or fourth quadrant operation. So with R and RL loads, the VL/AVG can never be negative. Okay, so we can see here, we can see in this waveform as well as in this waveform, we can see that for this waveform VL, the VL/AVG has to be positive. Why? Because the waveform is existing only above x-axis and there is no negative portion. So VL/AVG is positive with R loads, the current is positive. So VL, the average content of VL waveform and average content of IL waveform are both positive. That means for R load we get first quadrant operation. With RL load, what is the case? For RL load, inductance is very small. So in that case also, the area below the x-axis is lesser than area above x-axis. So for small inductive loads also we see the average content of VL waveform is positive. Why? Because area above x-axis is greater than area below x-axis over one cycle. So VL/AVG is positive, and we see that current here, whether the current is discontinuous or it is continuous, in both the cases the IL/AVG is positive. So for both R and RL loads, VL/AVG and IL/AVG are positive, hence first quadrant operation. Okay, so we have to make a note of this thing. So I'll also say here in bold that both VL/AVG and IL/AVG are positive, hence first quadrant operation. We can copy this here. Okay, here we have to justify that it is possible to have negative value of VL/AVG. That means what? The area below x-axis is larger than the area above x-axis over one cycle. Okay. Now we can see for all alpha greater than 0 radians to less than or equal to pi by 2 radians. Okay. So when the firing angle is increased from 0 and it is taken towards pi by 2, what happens is this. Okay. Yeah. So here in this particular circuit, what happens is one pair of SCRs, one pair of SCRs commutates another pair of SCRs. Okay. That means in positive half cycle, T1 and T2 start at omega t equal to alpha. Okay. At omega t equal to pi radians, negative half cycle starts. What happens? At omega t equal to pi radians, load reverses polarity of L di by dt. T1, T2 continue to conduct beyond omega t equal to pi radians. Okay, so T1 and T2 start to conduct at omega t equal to alpha, and at omega t equal to pi, actually they should get commutated because the negative half cycle has started. So the source is actually reverse biasing T1 and T2, but here there is a polarity reversal from the load side, and T1 and T2 continue to remain forward biased. Because of this, T1 and T2 continue to conduct in the illegal half cycle beyond pi. And what happens is at pi plus alpha, as soon as T3 and T4 are fired, what happens is they apply a negative voltage at the anode of T1 and T2. So at pi plus alpha, the incoming SCRs T3, T4, they will commutate T1 and T2. Okay, continue to conduct beyond omega t equal to pi. Now see what happens. At omega t equal to pi plus alpha radians, the T3 T4 pair starts conducting. So what happens is that T3 T4 enable reverse biasing of T1 T2. It is also known as voltage commutation. So whenever we commutate an SCR by applying a reverse voltage and reverse biasing it, it is called as voltage commutation. And if we reduce the anode current of an SCR below the holding current value, it is called as current commutation. Okay, so T3 T4 enable reverse biasing of T1 and T2. So T1 and T2, they will commutate at pi plus alpha. So again, what happens is T3 T4 conduct from omega t equal to pi plus alpha. At omega t equal to 2 pi radians, the positive half cycle starts. Okay, so now T3 T4 they have started conducting at pi plus alpha. At 2 pi positive half cycle starts. So from source side T3 T4 have a reverse bias, but again this load will reverse its polarity, apply a very high negative voltage LdI by dt. So it will keep T3 and T4 forward bias even beyond 2 pi. Okay, so we can say here load polarity reversal keeps T3 T4 forward biased even though the source Vs applies a reverse bias. Okay, so T3 T4 continue to conduct beyond omega t equal to 2 pi radians or 0 radians. When T1 and T2 are fired at omega t equal to 2 pi plus alpha radians or plane alpha radians, they apply the input positive half cycle to T3 T4 and enable voltage natural commutation. So we can say that T1 T2 they conduct from alpha to pi plus alpha radians, and T3 T4 they conduct from pi plus alpha radians to 2 pi plus alpha radians. Okay, so time is up now, and tomorrow I do not remember what time, but we are going to have an extra lecture where we are going to draw the waveforms corresponding to all these steps which you have written, and we'll derive the mathematical expression for VL AVG, and we'll justify that for what values of alpha it will operate in fourth quadrant, that is to have VL AVG negative.